The Galactic Empire's fleet floated in orbit, silent and menacing, their metallic hulls gleaming against the backdrop of Earth's blue and green surface. For centuries, they had expanded, absorbing civilizations and erasing defiance in their wake. Yet Earth, small and resourceful, had become a thorn in their side. Resistance from this backwater planet was unexpected and embarrassing. The Empire could not allow such defiance to persist. On board the Eclipse Sovereign, a sleek black warship that exuded power, High Admiral Zorith convened with the Spectral Blades, the Empire's elite assassin squad. They stood in formation, clad in armor that absorbed light and bent it to their advantage, their cybernetic enhancements making them more machine than flesh. The leaders of Earth cling to a fragile resistance, believing themselves untouchable. Zorith began, his voice cold and calculating. They underestimate us. Your mission is simple. Infiltrate, assassinate, and destroy their network of rebellion. Leave no trace, no witnesses. The Spectral Blades nodded in unison, their glowing red visors pulsing as data streams synchronized with their neural implants. Among them was Commander Zorith, the leader, known for his precision and ruthlessness. Earth will fall, Zorith said, his tone devoid of doubt. As the assassins descended in stealth pods, Earth's intelligence intercepted fragments of encrypted communications. The pieces were enough to paint a dire picture. The Empire wasn't sending an army. They were sending shadows. The Council convened in an underground bunker deep beneath the Appalachian Mountains. Screens flickered with images of Earth's major cities, the tension palpable in the air. General Lena Marks, head of Earth's Defense Initiative, stood at the center, her expression grim. "We've confirmed their arrival," she said. "They're not here to negotiate. They're here to decapitate us." The room erupted into debates, voices overlapping in frustration and fear. Earth's military, though scrappy and resourceful, wasn't equipped to fight an invisible enemy. Conventional warfare would be futile. It was Dr. Takashi Hino, a quiet figure at the edge of the room, who finally spoke up. "We need someone who can think like them, move like them, but fight better." General Marks turned to him, eyebrows raised. "And who would that be?" Hino hesitated, then pressed a button on his tablet. The room's central screen displayed an image of a man clad in black, his face partially obscured by a mask. "Kai Takeda," Hino said. "He's the last of his kind, a ninja trained in the ancient arts of stealth and combat. His techniques are unorthodox, unpredictable. If anyone can counter these assassins, it's him." The Council murmured in disbelief. A ninja? Against cybernetic assassins? It sounded absurd. But as Hino elaborated on Kai's training and capabilities, doubt began to wane. Within hours, Kai was summoned to the bunker. He arrived quietly, almost as if he had materialized from the shadows. His presence was unassuming yet commanding. Dressed in black, his eyes betrayed a sharp intelligence and a calm resolve. "You're asking me to fight ghosts?" Kai said after listening to the mission briefing. "Yes," General Marks replied. "But you're the only one who can do it." Kai nodded, his mind already calculating. "I'll need full access to their intel and whatever tech you can spare. But don't expect me to work like a soldier. I do this my way." And so it began. The Spectral Blades made their first strike in New York City, targeting an underground resistance hub. The attack was swift and brutal, leaving no survivors. Reports of similar incidents trickled in from London, Tokyo, and Cairo. The assassins moved like phantoms, leaving behind chaos and fear. But Kai was watching. Using Earth's fragmented intel, he tracked patterns in their movements. He realized the assassins operated with military precision, relying heavily on their tech to coordinate. Kai's plan wasn't to confront them head-on, but to dismantle their advantage. In an abandoned industrial district on the outskirts of Chicago, Kai set his first trap. The area was a labyrinth of rusting machinery and crumbling walls, perfect for a game of cat and mouse. Using modified drones and old radio frequencies, he lured a pair of spectral blades into the heart of the district. As they moved through the shadows, their cloaking devices active, Kai remained unseen, blending into the environment as if he were a part of it. When the assassins paused to scan for threats, he struck. A A smoke bomb erupted, filling the area with a thick, blinding mist. But this wasn't ordinary smoke. It carried an electromagnetic pulse that temporarily disabled their cloaking devices and neural implants. Kai moved swiftly, his footsteps silent. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed shurikens embedded with nanotech disruptors. One assassin fell, his systems compromised. The other recovered quickly, raising an energy blade. Their clash was brief but intense. The assassin relied on brute force and advanced tech, while Kai used agility, precision, and years of honed instinct. In the end, Kai's blade found its mark, severing the cables that powered the assassin's neural core. As the second assassin collapsed, Kai stood over the fallen bodies, his breathing steady. He inspected their gear, salvaging what he could to better understand their capabilities. But as he turned to leave, a faint sound caught his attention, a distant hum, growing louder. He barely had time to react before a drone descended, scanning the area. Kai disappeared into the shadows just as the drone's beam swept over the scene. The spectral blades would soon realize they weren't hunting unarmed prey. Kai retreated to his hidden base, analyzing the tech he had retrieved. He knew the battle had only just begun. The spectral blades were relentless, but now, so was he. The Galactic Empire's relentless expansion had brought countless civilizations under its control, each one folding beneath its overwhelming technological superiority and ruthless efficiency. Yet amidst this vast conquest, one planet remained defiant. Earth, a relatively primitive, resourceful outlier, refused to bow, sparking both annoyance and intrigue within the Empire. High Admiral Zoreth, standing on the bridge of the Eclipse Sovereign, studied the glowing image of Earth projected before him. His angular features twisted into a frown. This planet dares to resist us. We've crushed greater systems than this, yet they remain unyielding. Their rebellion inspires weakness across the outer territories. It ends now. Behind him, the spectral blades stood in perfect formation. They were more shadows than soldiers, their armor sleek and void-like, reflecting no light, absorbing all sound. Each assassin represented the pinnacle of Imperial technology, enhanced beyond human limits to become living weapons. Zorth turned to them. You know your orders. Strike at their heart. Silence their leaders. Destroy their spirit. Commander Zoreth, the Blade's leader, stepped forward, his voice a mechanical rasp. Earth will be but a whisper when we're done. The assassins descended to Earth in pods cloaked from radar, landing without detection. They wasted no time, infiltrating resistance networks, dismantling communication hubs, and eliminating key figures with chilling precision. Within hours, the Empire's message was clear. Resistance was futile. But Earth was listening. Deep beneath the Appalachian Mountains, in a fortified bunker, General Lena Marks paced before her war council. Screens flickered with images of cities in chaos, key officials missing or dead. The room buzzed with tension. They're ghosts, Mark said, slamming her hand on the table. Every strike is clean coordinated. No evidence, no survivors. Our conventional forces are useless against them. The council members exchanged uneasy glances, their voices overlapping in debate. Some called for surrender. Others demanded a counteroffensive. Amid the chaos, Dr. Takashi Hino raised his hand. General, he began, his tone calm but firm, what we need isn't an army. We need a shadow to fight a shadow. Marks arched an eyebrow. And where do we find such a shadow? Hino tapped on his tablet, projecting an image onto the central screen. It was a man clad in black, his face partially obscured, eyes piercing and focused. Kadekeda, Hino said, the last living descendant of an ancient ninja clan. He's trained in ways the Empire cannot anticipate. If anyone can turn the tide, it's him. The room fell silent, skepticism thick in the air. A ninja against cybernetic assassins? It sounded absurd, but desperation had a way of opening minds. Hours later, Kai arrived at the bunker, his movements so quiet it seemed he materialized from thin air. He was unassuming, dressed in simple black, with a calm demeanor that belied the lethal skill beneath. You're asking me to fight ghosts? Kai said after listening to the briefing. Marks nodded. Ghosts who are dismantling our planet. Can you do it? Kai's gaze was steady. I'll need freedom to operate my way. No interference. Agreed, Marks replied without hesitation. The fate of Earth is in your hands. Kai wasted no time. Using fragments of intercepted data, he began mapping the spectral blade's movements. He worked alone, retreating to an abandoned factory on the outskirts of Chicago to prepare. The factory's crumbling walls and shadowy corridors became his training ground. By day, Kai honed his body, combining ancient techniques with modern technology. He modified traditional tools, smoke bombs enhanced with EMPs, shurikens embedded with nanotech disruptors. By night, he studied the spectral blades, analyzing their weaknesses. The assassins continued their campaign, striking without warning. In Tokyo, they collapsed an underground resistance bunker, leaving no trace of their presence. In Berlin, a key leader was found dead in a secured home, the locks untouched. Fear spread like wildfire. Kai watched, waiting for the right moment to strike. He found it in Chicago, where two spectral blades were targeting a resistance safe house. Kai set his trap carefully, using drones and false signals to lure them into the factory. The assassins moved with the confidence of predators, their cloaking devices active, their movements silent. But Kai had spent his life mastering silence. He was the shadows they sought to hide in. When they entered the factory's central chamber, Kai triggered the first phase of his plan. A smoke bomb erupted, filling the space with thick, blinding mist. But this was no ordinary smoke. It carried an electromagnetic pulse that short-circuited the assassins' cloaking devices and disrupted their neural implants. Kai struck swiftly. From the mist came the whistle of a shuriken, lodging itself into the neck joint of one assassin's armor. Sparks flew as the cybernetic systems faltered. The second assassin raised an energy blade, but Kai was faster, darting from shadow to shadow, always a step ahead. Their clash was a dance of speed and precision. The assassins' movements were efficient, calculated by algorithms, but Kai's were fluid, unpredictable. He used the environment to his advantage, leaping from beams, disappearing behind machinery. When the fight ended, both assassins lay motionless, their systems destroyed. Kai crouched beside the remains, studying their technology. It was advanced but not infallible. He salvaged what he could, knowing the spectral blades would soon realize their squad mates were missing. As he slipped into the night, Kai felt a shift in the balance. For the first time, Earth had struck back. The spectral blades were not accustomed to failure. When Commander Zorith received word of the missing operatives, his anger was subdued but cold. "They found a hunter," he muttered, studying the fragmented data from the last transmission. He turned to his squad. "Increase your vigilance. Whoever this is, they will not stop us." But Kai was already preparing his next move. He knew this wasn't just about survival. It was about sending a message. Earth would not bow. The Galactic Empire's fleet hung like dark monoliths in orbit above Earth, their sheer size enough to blot out the stars. It was a sight meant to inspire submission, a stark reminder of the Empire's dominance over countless civilizations. But Earth was different. It was stubborn, defiant, and resourceful in ways the Empire hadn't encountered before. High Admiral Zorith stood on the bridge of the Eclipse Sovereign, his eyes fixed on the swirling blue and green planet below. "Enough of this charade," he muttered, his tone icy. "Deploy the spectral blades. Let Earth's leaders know that resistance is not tolerated, not even as a whisper." The spectral blades were more myth than men, cybernetic assassins, enhanced to perfection and capable of executing missions without leaving a trace. They operated in absolute silence, their black armor absorbing light, their neural systems synchronized with the Empire's central intelligence. Each move they made was calculated, every strike precise. Commander Zorith, leader of the Spectral Blades, acknowledged the order with a curt nod. Earth will fall swiftly and silently. Hours later, stealth pods rained down upon Earth, piercing its atmosphere without detection. The Spectral Blades moved with mechanical precision, dismantling key resistance cells in New York, Cairo, and Berlin. Leaders disappeared overnight, their strongholds reduced to empty ruins. Fear rippled across the globe like a dark tide. In an underground bunker beneath the Rockies, Earth's War Council gathered. Screens displayed chaotic feeds from the attacks, destroyed safe houses, missing personnel, and encrypted communications hinting at a new enemy unlike any before. General Lena Marks addressed the room, her voice sharp. "We're up against shadows. These assassins move faster than we can track, and their strikes are devastating. Conventional warfare won't stop them." Dr. Takashi Hino, a tech specialist, stepped forward, adjusting his glasses. "Then we don't fight them with convention. We need someone who operates outside their parameters." The council exchanged skeptical glances. "Who?" Marks demanded. Hino hesitated, then tapped a button on his tablet. A hologram flickered to life, displaying an enigmatic figure clad in black. "Kai Takeda," he said, "the last of the ninjas, trained in stealth and combat methods the Empire could never predict. If anyone can counter these assassins, it's him." The skepticism in the room deepened. A ninja against cybernetic killers? The idea seemed absurd, but desperation has a way of opening closed minds. Kai arrived in the bunker later that night, his presence almost ethereal. He moved with an uncanny quiet, his lean figure clad in unassuming black attire. He listened intently as General Marks briefed him on the spectral blades and their relentless attacks. "You're asking me to fight machines," Kai said, his voice calm but firm. "Yes," Marks replied. "Machines with no mercy and no weaknesses we can exploit." Kai's sharp eyes studied the holographic projections of the assassins. "Machines are predictable. I'll find their flaws. But I work alone. No interference." "Agreed," Marks said, desperation outweighing protocol. Kai vanished into the night, retreating to the urban outskirts of Chicago, where abandoned industrial districts offered both cover and resources. There, he prepared in solitude, melding centuries-old ninja techniques with scavenged tech. Smoke bombs became electromagnetic disruptors. Shurikens carried nanotech payloads. Kai was crafting his own arsenal, one designed for a battle unlike any other. The Spectral Blade's next strike came in Tokyo, where they targeted a crucial resistance hub. The attack was swift and ruthless, leaving no survivors. News of the massacre spread, and Earth's hope waned. But Kai remained focused. He studied the Spectral Blade's movements, identifying patterns in their attacks. They relied on precision and advanced coordination, their strength rooted in their cybernetic systems. Kai knew he couldn't outmatch their tech, but he could outthink it. In Chicago, Kai set his first trap. Using hacked drones and old radio frequencies, he lured two Spectral Blades to an abandoned factory. The assassins entered, their cloaking devices rendering them nearly invisible. But Kai was ready. From the shadows, he triggered a smoke bomb that erupted with a blinding flash. The smoke carried an electromagnetic pulse, temporarily disabling the assassin's cloaking tech and neural implants. Kai struck with the speed of a viper. His shurikens found their marks, piercing the joints of the assassin's armor and disrupting their circuitry. One assassin collapsed, its systems failing. The other recovered quickly, drawing an energy blade. Their clash was swift and brutal. The assassin's movements were efficient, calculated, but Kai's were fluid and unpredictable. He used the factory's machinery as cover, weaving through the environment with an agility that the assassin's algorithms couldn't match. In the end, Kai's blade found its target, severing the cables powering the assassin's neural core. As the second assassin crumpled, Kai stood amidst the smoke, his breathing steady. He retrieved fragments of their tech, knowing the fight was far from over. Back at his hideout, Kai analyzed the recovered gear. The assassins were powerful, but their reliance on tech was also a vulnerability. Kai adapted his strategies, preparing for the inevitable escalation. The Spectral Blades were not accustomed to failure. When Commander Zorith received word of the missing operatives, his response was cold and calculating. "We have a predator among the prey," he said, studying the data from the failed mission. "Increase vigilance. Find him and eliminate him." The next encounter came in the dense forests of South America, where the Spectral Blades targeted a hidden resistance lab. Kai anticipated their move and arrived first, setting a series of intricate traps. When the assassins entered the forest, they found themselves in unfamiliar territory. Kai had rigged the area with motion-trigger devices that disrupted their sensors, forcing them to rely on sight and sound. Kai moved like a ghost, striking from the shadows. He used the terrain to his advantage, leading the assassins into narrow ravines and dense undergrowth where their advanced tech offered little help. One by one, they fell, unable to adapt to Kai's relentless, unpredictable tactics. But the battle was not without cost. As Kai dispatched the last assassin, a stray energy blade grazed his side, leaving a searing wound. He gritted his teeth, retreating into the shadows as reinforcements approached. Despite his injury, Kai knew he had sent a message. The spectral blades were not invincible. Earth's resilience was not broken. In the depths of the Eclipse Sovereign, Commander Zorith studied the latest reports. The assassins' losses were mounting, and the mysterious figure responsible was becoming a significant threat. Zorith clenched his fists, his cybernetic enhancements whirring softly. "This ends now," he said, his voice a low growl. Kai, meanwhile, retreated to a safe house in the mountains. He tended to his wound, his mind already planning his next move. The battle for Earth was far from over, but for the first time, there was hope.